Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm with me, Guru Mafinda. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be doing some preparing for beds to put in our beetroot. We've got some beetroot starts that were started about 5 weeks ago, actually, and they need to go out. So I'm going to get those in. I'm also going to be digging up some more potatoes, or rather tipping out some more potatoes from the Tesco cut flower buckets. And we're going to be generally tidying up inside the cucumber and tomato house, which is Tiki Tunnel number 2 on the Lady Farmer's side, which is where I am right now, with the garlic behind me. I'm going to take those garlic because they're cured off nicely now. Those. I'm going to take those garlic home with me tonight as well. Well, there's plenty to do, always plenty to do down here on the plots. So let's get cracking. Oh, I might well do a tip out as well, potentially, on the comfrey feed. Although I don't think I've got me, I won't be doing that today, I'll do it tomorrow. I've not got my marigolds with me. You need the marigold gloves for that because it absolutely stinks. The comfrey that we started off absolutely stinks. You don't want to get that on your hands because you'll smell all day long. Anyway, we'll get cracking. Just taking these the last of these beetroots down. Now, I had 3 trays, which would have been 36 beetroots, but I put a couple like cluster planted, if you like, in each one of these cells. But they're old seeds, and there's only about half of them come up. So we've got about 30 beetroots that I'm planting out today in these. So I'll go down. We're going to be putting them into the brassica tent. This particular brassica tent down here, I'm going to be putting them into this, because it's just about the right size to get about 30 beetroots in. But obviously I'm going to have to weed it first. See, we've got a few pretty invasive weeds there. We've got the bindweed in there, horse's tail, and also stinging nettle, and it's all the way along. It's where the cauliflowers were and the rest of it. There's one I've missed, actually. One of the root balls. I've just been taking the root balls out, all the root balls from here. But it's going to get a thorough weeding. Can't speak. What's the matter with me? A thorough weeding. And a straighten up. Spinning you around as well. Can't speak, mate. What's wrong with me? A thorough weeding, a straighten up, and a plant out with the beetroot. We're also going to be putting some potatoes in these beds, so that hopefully they're going to be ready then for sort of back end of November, and we can have Christmas potatoes. That's the plan. So yeah, let's get on with that. Just a quick step back, actually, to up at the polytunnel. The plants, the Super Sweet 100 and the Sun Gold tomato plants, a cherry tomato plant, very succulent, very sweet, have reached the top of where I want them to grow. Yeah, they're just over 5 feet tall because they're in the beds. They're a little bit more raised up. I'm 5'10", or I was. I'm actually 5'9" now. I've shrunk. Anyway, these are about 5 foot, or just over 5 feet tall. That's in the old imperial money. So I don't want them to grow any higher because they're going to be hitting the roof here, and I don't want them to run over. I just want them to concentrate now for the next sort of 6 weeks on producing the fruits that we can eat. So what I'm going to be doing is, I've already stemmed them off, so the growing tip's already been snipped, and that's the final position for the growth, the vertical growth, if you like, has been snipped out. All the side shoots have been cut off, so the side shoots that grow in the crook, or the inner elbow of where the leaf comes out and the main stem comes out, you get the side shoot that comes out from here. they've been removed as we've been going on. So all the time the plant's been growing up, I've been taking out the side shoots, so I'm single stemming all the way up the cane. They're attached to the cane, they've reached the top of the cane, cut out the top. The plant will then, the hope is that then the plant will concentrate its energy on the fruit, on the fruiting vines that we've got. I'll show you. So as you can see there, the plant is running single stemmed along the cane all the way up. All the side shoots have been removed as we've been going. They grow in the crook, so they get taken out with either a pair of little snippers, or in the case of the smaller ones, you can actually pinch them out. There was a big one there, look. And when you do that, they callus over and heal themselves off, and then you're just getting that single stem going all the way up, and then the vines come out from the single stem, as you can see there, and that's where you're getting your fruits on these vines. And you can see there that some of these are actually ready now. They're ready for picking. When they get that sort of like nice orangey colour is when the sun gold are ready on this particular variety. But you can see there's plenty of vines, even from the single stem. You just got to keep going around and taking off those side shoots so that the energy of the plant's growth is concentrated then on the fruit. As I say, that's the principle of it. You can see there's plenty. It does work, or it certainly has worked for us. So yeah, I'll snip them out when they get to this height, because this is as high as I want them to go. Sounds a bit fascist, that, but that's about as what that's the size of it. And then a lot of this leaf growth as well. Joe the wise old elf always says, you can't eat the leaf, so you don't particularly need all of this leaf. As you can see, we're getting some leaf curl on it. So I'm going to trim those back a little bit and let some air come through. Get that aeration coming through. And that again should help with the health of the plant. So we're going to do that. We're going to give them a bit of a haircut. Okay, so they've all had a good haircut. Apart from these are the big plum tomatoes. And we've got a couple on there, look. Red plum there. With thinning out the foliage, that allows the sunshine to get to the fruits, and it helps them ripen up quicker. And obviously the energy, hopefully, from the plant goes into the fruit. That's the theory. It works for Joe, the wise old elf, and others. I do watch everybody on the internet, you see, so I pick up tips. But the thinning out is essential, I think, especially around the bases. You don't like it to be cluttered around the bases. And with the watering system that we've got, watering and feeding system that we use, puts the moisture in the ground, so you don't get it on the plants. You don't want it too sort of humid and damp around the bases of the plants, because they'll start to rot off. You'll get fungal problems. Same with opening up, letting the air get through. It'll reduce the risks of these fungal problems early on. You'll get them at the end of the season. You'll get it right at the end of the season, when the temperatures drop and there's not enough light, and the plants have fulfilled their life cycle, if you like. Stemming them off at the top stops the further growth, concentrates then on the fruits that you've got, the setting of the flowers, the setting of the fruits, and you get better results. You know what I mean? It's all about quality as well as quantity. It's mostly about quality. If you look at these ones, I've thinned these out as well. These are Super Sweet 100. Unfortunately, these are a bit close to the door, but you can see that the trusses are quite full. You know, you've got plenty of flower on, plenty of blossom, and the fruits are coming. They do tend to start closer to where the crux is, where it meets the main stem. They start off there generally, but you can get anomalies, and it spreads through the truss. Might trim that off as well because it's not looking... I'm all about aesthetics, me, as well. I'm a bit vain like that. I've done the same thinning process with my cucumbers. If you remember, Bradley, the last couple of weeks has been stripping these cucumber plants to the bone. I think we took 9 last week. And but they're still coming through. They're tending at the moment to come around the base, so getting some side shoots and growth around the base. So there's a lot of flower, a lot of blossom, and little cukes coming. So I'm going to leave some of them on just to get little baby cucumbers off them. But it's the ones higher up that you want, really. So they've got the chance then to grow into full size cukes. That's a fat one. Look at that one. That's a fat one. A fat chunky one. There's a couple of long ones, and they grow quite quickly. Once the fruit's set, they do grow quite quickly. They'll go from sort of like that to that and that in about 10 days. They do grow quick. Fantastic. Look at the blossoms on these vines. Again, this is another Super Sweet 100 cherry tomato plant. We like the cherry tomatoes. To be honest, we're not massive tomato eaters, but the cherry ones we like. And the plum. I might do more plum next year. I will do, actually. I'll do more plum next year. I'll do about 12 plants of the plum, so we can start canning them up and things like that, making the tomato sauces with them. The bolognese sauces and stuff like that, especially with the garlic, onions and tomato, you know what I mean? Make our own sauces. These were the offshoots that I did from a couple of these plants, and you can see I was worried about them at first because they were looking sorry for themselves, but they're actually coming through. I've just got to find a home for them. I was contemplating putting them in the Tiki Tunnel #1, which you might well do. That's a job for tomorrow, I think, now. Get them in the Tiki Tunnel #1. Yeah, I was worried about the side shoot clones. But they come through nice and bonny. In fact, they've got side shoots on of their own. So from the main plants where we took these, I just took a snip of that side shoot that grows in the elbow, or the crux of the elbow. Took that, planted it into a bit of compost. Nothing in the compost, to be honest, no feed or anything. And that's what you get. So they're around about that size, actually. But they want to be taken off, so again they can concentrate on, because I'm going to be single stemming them again. They'll be concentrating on that when I do plant them up properly. And what I'll do is I'll just plant them, I'll take them out of the pots with the root ball, plant that in to my planting station, and away we go. Into here, which has been neglected only for about 3 weeks, but you can look at the horses' tails. Absolutely overrun with horses' tails coming up through the cracks in the paving slabs. That's a poppy of some description. That's just away with it. That's come up in the last couple of weeks like that. You got a tomato plant there. They're all self-seeding. Whatever's in here is self-seeded. That's all the bindweed. So there's another job I've got to do. Get all them out. Get some weeding done. There's an hour's worth of weeding in here. Yeah, crack on, Tony. Anywho, back to the beetroots. There's the weeds. There we are, weed free, and it's just started raining. So let's get these in. But first, I'm going to do a tip out on one of the Tesco buckets. I'm going to see what they're like. And while these are right at the side of the bed, these Charlottes, let's have a look at them. Now on the Charlottes, we got 2.2 pounds, something like that. About a kilo last week out of the Asda buckets, which are the smaller buckets. So let's see how we've done with these ones. So I've just removed the horns. It's time to tip up Charlotte's skirt and see what she's got for us. There we go. Now on the surface, it doesn't look too promising, but look at that underneath. They all grow around the seed potato, the central seed potato, which was kind of down there. Oh God, my bum's too fat for that bucket. Unfortunately, boys and girls. I've actually put a bit of weight back on. I put about 8 pounds back on. Not too bothered about it. Like, I'm still svelte and beautiful in every way, you know. But yeah, 14 stone 10 I am now, and I was 14 stone 2 about a month ago. I put 8 pounds back on, guys. Let's have a look and see. Ooh, some nice. They're all in good nick though. Look at them, they're good nick. But I don't think there's so far anyway. It doesn't look like there's as many as we're in. Oh, I don't know though. Look, they're all hiding. Look, it might not be too bad of a haul, this, guys. Not too bad at all. Not too shabby. All tumbling out there. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a decent haul, this. A couple of tiddlers. A couple of nice. So the Charlotte is a salad potato, so you can boil them up and let them cool off, and have them with your salads. Or you can have them warm with a bit of slightly salted butter. Don't use margarine or these pretend butters, lads and lasses. No good for man the beast, that. Actual real butter is best. You know what I mean? In my personal opinion. I think margarine was originally created as a lubricant or something, weren't it? It wasn't actually originally created as a food stuff. And I just don't like it. It's not as good. Is that our lot? Is that the lot? Or are there any more lurking? I don't think there are. I think that is our lot. But yeah, not too bad. I think there's only about £1.50 there though. And if that, about £1.25. Saying that, the kilo was out of 2 buckets, weren't it? So yeah, it's probably around about the same. Around about the same as last time on the Charlottes. I've got those there. See, I'm only doing this so as I can actually top this bed up before planting me. Oh, there's a wayward one. Planting me beetroots in. You've always got to have a root through and just make sure you've not missed any. Because there's already enough nutrition in this bed underneath for the roots to feed off. So I'm just going to put this top layer on just to fill up the bed, really, basically. Because you don't like wasting anything, you know. So as I'm tipping out these buckets, because I've spent money on putting the original compost into the buckets, I want to recoup that as much as I can by topping up my beds with it. So really, it might cost you, say, £1.50 or something like that to actually produce that initially. That's the seed potato, or what's left of it, initially. But, you know, about £1.30's worth of what you've put into the bucket isn't spent. So it only actually costs you 20p to get that, which is considerably less than if you're going to buy half a kilo of potatoes from the supermarket, organically grown, fresh as a daisy Charlotte's like that. Probably about £1, you know, or £1.20 or something like that for half a kilo. So yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, so similar results really when you work it out that there were 2 buckets of the Charlotte last week in the Asda buckets, in the Tesco cut flower buckets, which are actually slightly bigger. Similar results. Yeah. The square ones make them easier to sort of stack together, if you like, and place together. to cover your meterage, because the round Asda buckets, which are these ones, you're going to have gaps at the side and everything, aren't you? But it's actually cost you slightly less. There's about 5 litres of space less in the Asda ones than there is in the Tesco ones. So you can do more buckets if you like. And you get similar results. So yeah, certainly on the Charlottes. Let's have a look at these Sharps Express. Sharps Express didn't do too spectacularly. In fact, they were, I think, were the least in girth and length last week. So let's see how they've done in the Tesco. Sharps Express. It's been pretty dry this season. It's been a bit off and on really. We've had like a couple of downpours, but mostly sort of dry but overcast conditions, which is not really great for potatoes. It's not terrible for them, but it's not really great. So we're doing all right, really, considering the conditions that we've had. He says, doesn't look like there's much in here. But last week these did the least. They were the least successful last week. Sorry, when we did the Asda cut flour. And it's looking like it's the same story this week. Little tiddlers. They haven't had the chance to sort of bulk up and get much size on them. But there's plenty of them, by the look of it. Quite a few of them. These are a bit more floury. They're a bit of a lighter potato, these anyway. Not as dense as the Charlotte. So weight-wise, they're not going to be as heavy. We might actually get a similar amount of them, though, to be honest. But you're not going to get the weight that you got with the Charlotte ones. God, it's quite hard. I think the soil's quite hard. Not bad though. No, not too bad. Similar amount when you get into them. And again, they grow around where the seed potato was. The seed potato was here at the bottom, and they're growing around it, aren't they? Sort of clustering around the parent spud. I like potatoes. They're very therapeutic creatures, potatoes. When you're digging them up like this, look at that manky seed potato. They're lovely. It's nice, isn't it? Ew, God. Where's my bucket? That's outside. Oh. Hang on a minute. In the bucket. Actually, in volume, you've probably got something at least a very similar amount in volume, but they are slightly lighter, so they won't weigh as much as the Charlottes. Not that it matters, because I've not got any scales with me, but you'll be able to physically see by eye the actual amount of spuds that you get. But the weight is going to be unknown at this time, which is pretty naff of me, innit? I always like a potato reveal when you can say, oh God, look at that, he's had 5 pounds of spuds out of one bucket. Never happens that, but you know, when you can actually compare the physical weight, it's always nice, isn't it? But I'm crap. I'm not as good as I used to be, mate. I'm rubbish. Just like growing stuff now, mate, and eating it. So there you go. And put them in there. And do a side-by-side comparison. There's a few more small ones in this. These are a bit smaller than the Charlottes, aren't they? All put in at the same time, though. About 12 weeks ago. I was late with my potatoes this year. I was 4 to 6 weeks late across the board with my potatoes this year. So there's the Charlotte. There's a Charlotte in there. And there's the Sharps Express in there. See if I can get them on an angle where you can compare them proper. Yeah, I think the Charlottes have got it. They've edged it by about 20% on weight and heft, length and girth. Yeah, good. Okay, so the spuds are taped out. It's time to get the beetroots in. So I've made 16 impressions into the soil just by putting my fingers in like that. And making a little hole. And from the ones that we've got here, I think I counted them about 16 or 17 beetroot plants there, little beetroot plants. I'm just going to take them out the cells, just pull them out, gently pull them out, if I can. Sometimes it's good to give them a bit of a squeeze at the base. Just give the base a bit of a squeeze. And then gently, come on, gently lift them out like that. And pop them in. I'll start at the back. I'll pop them in like that. And then I'm going to firm around the base with that. And then water them in. Ideally, you'd do this with 2 hands, which I will be doing in a second. I'll just put them in like that. This is all we do. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You can kind of loosen up the root ball if you want, and give it a chance, but more of a chance. But there's no real need to. They tend to do okay. Just popped in like that. So I'll just fill all these up now. And I'll show you the result at the end. Alright, so the beetroots are in. And it's like a gentle rain that we've got at the moment. It's spitting, as they say. It's spitting! 17. But there's a couple of them are twice. There's about 20 or 21 beets altogether there. So I'm looking at these beds here. That's got quite a lot of manure in it, that. So what I might do is in fact I will, I'll just de-weed all this now, and then I'll get the rest of the new potatoes. I'll show you why, because they've all died off at the back here. The other ones in buckets are really tatty, and they're not going to get any better. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 there. Yeah, 7. So I'll use that. Once I've weeded in there, I'll use these to top up the beds again. But first, we're going to give Magical Michael Derbyshire a bit of a lift, because he's got a drop of his wood. I think I said last week he's building a greenhouse, isn't he? A timber greenhouse. He's got a lot of wood dropped off, but it's a bit big for what he needs, so he's going to be cutting it down. But he's had a big drop here. I'm going to give him a lift with it. That is one big pile of 6 by 2, actually, 6 inches by 2 inch tannalised timber. I bet you've enough there to build a decent shed out of. But it's going to be used for doing framing. He's going to cut it down into 3 by 2 and use it for building framing around this, which is a whopping base of sleepers that he's got for building the greenhouse with. It's going to be glass and, well, a combination of glass and polycarbonate. polycarbonate roof. And I think 3 walls are going to be polycarbonate and the front's going to be glass. So I think it was all about doing glass down that side and glass along that side, because the sun comes over in that direction and goes, you know. It's up to him, he can do what he wants, can't he? But it's going to be about 7 feet high, sloping. It's not going to be a pitched roof like that. It's going to be a sloping roof similar to the tiki hut, where it's about a foot higher on that side than it is on this side. It's going to slope down, run through a gutter, the water, and fill up the drum, and then I'll have a relay of drums going down there. If you check out Mick's channel, you'll see it all. He's going to make a start on it this week. I know it's looking good though. Laughing there, mate. So you're laughing there with all that, aren't you, mate? Yeah. Looking the part, mate. Looking the part. Plenty there. Reuse, repurpose, recycle. That's what it's all about. That's no good for fire. Well, it would be good for firewood, but it'd be a waste for firewood, wouldn't it? Nice one. Anyway, more tipping, or rather more weeding, and then more tipping of the spuds. I get all of this weeded around here. Look at that kale, it's still coming on strong, that kale. It's fantastic. They're about 4 feet high now, them kales. And the purple sprouting broccoli. We've been taking it off every time I've come down, this purple sprouting broccoli, but it's still coming through nice. Wonderful. That's a proper purple sprouter there at the back, isn't it? These ones. Yeah, continual harvest there, guys. Okay, so weeds out. Horns off. Okay, so let's start with the second of the Charlottes and Sharps Express, because these are the first two of the Charlottes and the Express, and we'll see what we've got from the 2 buckets. Yeah, so it's looking promising, this second one. Oh, it's looking promising. Let's pick them out and root through. Look at that, that's a nice size. These are the Charlottes. That's a worm. As you can see, with these early potatoes, they grow around the parent spud. The parent spud's somewhere in here. They tend to cluster around it. I think Charlotte there. This one looks actually potentially a little bit better than the first one. This is what's exciting. I like this about the potato reveals, is that you don't know what you're going to get, and you can get pleasant surprises. You can get a pleasant surprise. Yeah, they seem to be growing, just growing really around and slightly above the seed potato. Just put that in here. Not a bad little haul, this. The Charlottes, the beautiful Charlottes. A couple of little tiddlers left on. But these have gone over, they've died, and when they do that, they don't tend to grow too much more. Although I've noticed that when we do leave them in the ground, we left a few in the ground, didn't we, by mistake over winter, and a lot of them survived and weren't too bad when we took them out. They were a little bit scabby, but they were edible, and they were the ones that we'd missed when we took them out, when we dug them out the ground. We'd missed them. So they couldn't have been really, really big potatoes, although when they came out in March and April, when we were turning the soil over, when we discovered them under the ground, some of them were quite big. like too big for you to miss, if you know what I mean. You know, when you were doing the original tip house in August or whatever it was the year before, you know, they were too big to miss. So they must have been little and carried on growing underground, even though they didn't have any foliage above, which is a bit bizarre, isn't it? But that's what happened. So there's them, and there's your first lot. So some of the first lot are bigger, but there are some quite large ones amongst them, and there's quite a few spuds there, isn't there? 5, 10, 15, about 20 varying sizes. 1 in, 20 out of varying sizes. So we're tending to get about 10 times as much in weight, or a little bit more actually when you look at them, because the size of the seed potatoes was something like that when they went in, and you're getting that out. So you're probably getting a good 10 or 15 times, at least 12 times what you put in, which is not a bad result, not a bad return, is it? Another reason to love potatoes: a fantastic source of carbohydrate and vitamins. There's more vitamins in a potato. In fact, I heard there were twice as many, or twice as much vitamin C in a potato than there is in an apple. So they're not bad for you. They're good for you. And like this, where you cook them with the skins on, again, a lot of the vitamin and mineral content is in the skins, so you don't want to peel them really. You're better off not peeling them. I'm weighing that now just by. There's over a kilo there, definitely over a kilo. There's about 1.2 kilos there. Yeah, definitely just under 3 pounds there in weight. So let's see what the Express is doing. Okay. Sharps Express there. Express first impressions. A couple of woodlice knocking around. Lots of tiddlers on the surface. Little tiddlers. But let's see what's actually in the core, in the hard core. Yeah, so plenty of spuds. Lots of tiddlers. In fact, on the underground rhizomes, you've got tons still on, like loads still on. So the ones that are in the ground, I might well leave them as long as I possibly can, because I reckon you'll get a good bumper crop, potentially, off these Sharps Express. They are supposed to be heavy croppers. But yeah, as you saw from the top growth, it died off. But there's hundreds of little ones on. So even though it dies off over the top, I might well leave a few on. These are dead tasty, these, if you just put them in microwave for a couple of minutes. Well, not even a couple of minutes, like about a minute. That's how my mum likes them. All the little baby ones. Microwave for a minute or two. Ignore me when I say 2, for a minute. Microwave for a minute. So let's get them in with the other Express. And we could do a side-by-side. Charlottes compared. In fact, I might leave it. I might get the other ones out, because I've got Ulster Prince and I've got Javelin. And for some reason, I've got 1 bucket of Saxon. And I think I know what the reason is. I think I actually tipped a bucket of Saxon out about a month ago. And they were too early. There was hardly anything on them. In fact, I did. Right, so we'll get these in the Express bucket. And as I say, I won't show you the other ones. I'll just do them, and then I'll show you the results afterwards, and you can have a look. I'm hoping that the Ulster Prince have done well, because they're my favourites, the Ulster Prince. Although the Charlottes were nice as well. We had the Charlottes with tea last Sunday. And we've been having some of the other ones that we took. I've still got loads left. I've still got probably about 6 pounds of spuds left. 6 pounds in weight, which equals out at about 4 meals. About £1.50 of spuds we use when we're putting it together with a family meal. And in there, I would say, there's a good kilo. There's a good 2.5 pounds in there. So based on that, although it's a week later when we're taking these up, there's actually not much in them, to be honest. What's that thing there? What the hell is that? That's not a ladybird, is it? That's not a ladybird, that. What is it? A weird creature. Is it a tick? I don't know what that is. That's not a ladybird, though. Is it? I'm a simple creature, aren't I? Will it focus? Will you focus? No, you won't focus, will you? It's got weird markings on it. Anyway, I'll keep away from that. I don't think it's a tick, but it's weird, isn't it? It looks strange, isn't it? Very odd. Yeah, so there's the Express, the Sharps Express. We'll put them over there and get cracking on with these other ones here. Ulster prints there, showing pretty impressive length and girth, but not abundance. That's from the 2 buckets, that's 2 buckets worth. Now they are a good size, they're decent sized, but they're not. Where's some others? Where's my other ones? What am I done with them? They're not as abundant, are they? But there's some good specimens there, right? Onto the javelin. Look at that family of slugs. Hiding out in my javelin bucket. Anyway, here are the javelins. Let's get into them. So a good kilo there, I'm going to say, on the javelins. Probably a couple of pound there. Because of the size of them, the weighing, obviously they've not got the multitude, but the weight is not too dissimilar. They are lighter, but they're about, I would say, about half a pound lighter than them. So knocking on for £2 there, £2.5 there. Same there. Yeah. Probably more actually, the Charlotte. About £3 of Charlottes. Knocking on for £3 of the Express. Probably similar to that, and just over £2 for them. The Ulsters. And there's the Wayward Saxon, so let's see what he's done. And that's not bad from 1 bucket of Saxon. That's not bad. Because the seed potato was about that size when it went in. And again, we've got about 10 times as much coming out. But that's, I'd say that's about £1. So yeah, not bad. But of course, I can't be 100% on the weights because I haven't got any scales. So they may be over that. Maybe a little bit over that. Yeah. Well, there's been years where we've had perfect conditions and everything's gone right. Where each bucket was bringing out. I mean, one year we were getting like a kilo out of the buckets that had the Red Dukes of York in. But the thing with the Red Dukes of York is the flavour's not that fantastic. I don't particularly like the flavour. But they are the most abundant. Red Dukes of York are first early. But it's more about quality and flavour and texture with me. That's why I like the Ulster Princes and the Charlottes and what have you. Because of the flavour. Although the Charlottes have been quite abundant this year. So it's a win-win chicken din, isn't it? Right, guys. I think we'll call it for today because I've got to get off. It's Franco's birthday today. My mate Daryl's son. He's got 2 lads that are similar age to me. So we're going to Franco's birthday. He's having a bit of a party. So I've got to be there for 3 o'clock, and I bet it's about 10 to 2 now. 1:45. So I've got to get off, get washed, get myself sorted out, go and pick up Mother. I'm in Mother's car today. So I'm going to have to sort myself out, answer. Right, boys and girls. Take care of yourselves and each other. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the winter. I'll probably see you tomorrow. We'll be coming on getting them onions up. And potentially planting some more potatoes in, with fingers crossed we can get a second crop of potatoes this year, and we're going to put them into these beds. I'm just going to see what happens, you know. We've got 5 months left of the year, but actually in growing terms we've only got about 3 months, so there's a chance we can get some new potatoes. We won't get a massive crop, but we should get some potatoes. So yeah, fingers crossed, we'll get that sorted. See you tomorrow, guys. Keep growing with your heads down, and remember, we love you all. Ta-da now.